Hi, I'm Ganesh, and in this video, we're going to talk about the MVC architectural pattern. If you would like to read a text version of this video, check out my blog post. There's a link in the description. The MVC pattern is used to structure or architect the presentation layer of an application. To understand this, let's say we have a web application for a book catalog that's hosted on a server computer somewhere. And further assume that this application is built using an MVC framework like ASP.NET Core MVC or Ruby on Rails or Spring MVC. So the application follows the MVC architectural pattern. Our web app is divided into three sets of components: models, views, and controllers. Now, let's say a user wants to retrieve a list of books stored on our server. So he opens his web browser on a computer, types in the URL to our application, and hits enter. The web browser will then send an HTTP request to our server. This request may contain information such as query string parameters. Next, on our server, the controller, which is the C part of MVC, receives the incoming request. So the controller handles the request and decides what to do with it. The controller then talks to the model. The model is a component in MVC that is responsible for getting the required data and executing any business logic necessary. So the model may talk to a data store such as a database and get the required data such as books in our case, and then it passes this data to the controller. The controller takes this data and passes it to the view. The view is a component in MVC that is responsible for producing the UI or the user interface. So the view takes this data it got from the controller and uses the data to produce the UI, which for a web application, it's simply HTML markup with data contained in it. This HTML markup is added to the HTTP response, which is sent to the client computer. The browser takes the HTML markup in the HTTP response and renders the final web page. So with the MVC pattern, each component is responsible for doing only one thing. The controller is responsible for handling user interaction and coordinating between the model and the view. The model itself is only responsible for data access logic and any business logic, while the view's purpose is to simply provide the user interface that needs to be displayed to the user. So with the MVC architectural pattern, we have clear separation of concerns. So the code is more organized, easy to maintain, and easily testable. And when I say each component in MVC is responsible for doing only one thing, I'm referring to the single responsibility principle. This principle is one of the 5 solid principles of object-oriented design. If you're interested in learning about the different principles with examples, click the video on the screen right now.